Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We'll just wait a couple of seconds for more people to join and we will get started. All right. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Rosalie. Welcome to today's client webinar for July, where we will be presenting version 50.5.1 that was released earlier this week on Monday. My name is Rosalie, and I'm Customer Success Manager at Client. I will be your host today. As always, our CEO, Yannick, will be joining me to demo some of our really exciting features. Hello, Yannick.
Rosalie, looking forward to it. A lot of cool stuff to show again today.
Yes, we're not slowing down, even though it's summer. And finally, we also have Isabel from our customer success team as well, who will be answering some questions and Q&A. All right, if we go to the next slide, perfect. As a reminder, if you want to make the most out of this webinar, just make sure you participate to polls, use the react button to tell us how you feel, and you can ask questions in the chat or Q&A. And as always, speaking of polls, we will be starting with our very first poll. We want to know, is this your first client webinar? Yes, no, I'm a regular. No, I've been to a couple. And I have a feeling that because it's July, middle of the summer, we're going to have mostly regulars, but I could be wrong. All right. Okay. Actually, I'm almost right. Looks like there's a couple of first timers, so welcome for you. But most people are regulars. So welcome back to everyone. So what do we have on the agenda for today? Let me just end the poll. All right. What do we have on the agenda for today? So we'll be demoing some of our most notable new features and improvements from version 50.5.1. So just so you know, there's a lot of things we release every time. We don't have time to show everything, so we always make like a selection of what's most relevant. We'll also talk about your most popular ideas and what ideas are new for you to be voting on our community. We'll show the product roadmap, talk a little bit about our next release, and then conclusion. Little reminder about our release notes. So as always, after the webinar, if you haven't done it yet, we encourage you to review all the release notes on our community. You can search for the red light emoji that you can see. Yep, thank you, Yannick, for upgrade consideration, which are the most important to know about, especially if you're a system administrator that's going to be performing the upgrade, and if you need to send any internal communication. And then for release 50.5, we've highlighted there are 4 upgrade considerations, so they're on the slide there. So for you to...
Yep. And there is sometime if you want to benefit from those functionality, you absolutely need to follow those links in this specific release as well. If the Lightning emails template is not enabled in your environment, you will need to enable it. It's been introduced a long time ago, so it should already be enabled, but please read the release notes, upgrade considerations.
Yep, perfect. Now let's have a look. These are the new notable features and improvements. In an instance, Yannick is going to be demoing a couple of these. We've got things to show you on the Workspace, Timesheet, Resource Planner, and then some things related to surveys and financial. To kick things off, we're actually going to be starting with a poll about currencies, which is what we're going to be talking about first. What we're going to be demoing first. So very simple, easy question. We never talk about currencies really in these webinars. So first time we do, we just want to know if you have multi-currencies in your Salesforce org. So if you have 1 currency, 2 or more. So we're just kind of curious. I think it depends where you're based in the world as well, but I'll give a couple of seconds. And from what I'm seeing, yeah, we have about half people that only have 1 currency and then the other half that has 2 or more. So this should definitely be relevant to you then. And I will be passing the baton to you, Yannick. Yeah, we're about half.
Yeah, and actually it's not even for people that only have 1 currency, the first improvement, which is working with locale and working with the representation of numbers is going to help a lot. So again, as we're trying to do quite often, we're trying to simplify the use of client. We want to increase visibility, clarity, legibility. And again, this is one of the main thing about this functionality, about the locale and the currency column. So you might already spot the difference. So if you're looking at my workspace, and if we're looking at the expected revenue column, the first thing you can see now is that we do have that currency symbol showing, but also we have the representation of numbers with the proper commas and numbers separation. And this is going to be based on your locale. So every user can change their locale based on their settings. So if I would be clicking on Rex and Green, I could see my locale. The environment itself has a default locale. And projects do have currency set up. So you can see, for example, this specific project here. If I'm sorting my grid, I can see this one is in US dollar and this one is in euro. And the representation of number, like I said, there's a comma separation. You can see as well in the number format, there are also separation with the different units. So the comma is being used with my specific locale I have in that environment. So again, for clarity and term, when you're looking at numbers, now it should be a lot easier. This has not been done before because supporting locale did require some effort, but now we have that functionality that's going to help you make sense of all your numbers in the workspace. Hopefully, you're going to find this a lot more easy to find your numbers and look at data. So this was the first thing. So coming back to my slide, we have a few on this. So the other one, it's going to be the toggle the high dependency lines and timeline, task indicator, and then creation of task will be the next one we'll be looking at, plus rescheduling. So I won't be coming back to that deck, but let me show you a few of those functionality. If I open up this project here, which is a bigger project, and then this is in regards of the dependency line between tasks. So when you have a project with a lot of tasks, this one is pretty intense. If I make it full screen, and let me zoom out a little bit, and as well zoom out here in the workspace itself. So you can see while zooming out, I have all those dependency line that sometimes create confusion, or it's at least for visibility and clarity, it's a bit more difficult to see. So we've introduced a simple toggle here, high dependency. So in this way, it just removes those lines. They still exist. They're still linked. Their dependency still exists. So it's just a representation, and you can easily hide or not those dependency lines. So when you have a complex project and you just want to have a bit more clarity, you can easily just hide those lines with that toggle. And
red star, red asterisk. This means you can definitely save it in your presets.
Exactly. So this is the functionality about that toggle. The other one, we've introduced that functionality in the last release, the task indicator column. This can also be toggled with that toggle button here, but now we've also included with the within the context menu when you right click on top, so you can easily hide or show that task indicator. So if I want to add it, I just can select that task indicator. It's going to be added back to my layout, and I can move it around. And we've also made some improvement already to that new functionality. First, there's the logic of the overdue has been a little bit improved. There was a new canceled settings that's been introduced to play around with that that toggle of overdue. So when you have a red circle like this, it means it's overdue. But also when you have, let me just come back here. When you have some milestone and you want to, let's say, put some payment information on it, you're going to have some color coding, and you will see that that color coding is going to be represented on both sides too. So let me just open this task panel. I'm going to put that milestone a payment of, let's say, $12,000, and I'm going to save it. And you can see now that that milestone has been changed to black, and on both sides, so on the left side and the right side. And when I'm going to mark it as complete, it's going to also be changed with a border, black border, but still a green icon, meaning that it's been completed. and when it's overdue, it's going to be red. So we've improved the behavior of that task indicator column. I'm not sure if you've been using it, but you should be starting using it. It helps to just get to your information quickly. You can know as well when there's some time log and some checklist items. So that task indicator column has been improved.
If I can piggyback off what you said, Yannick, I would be curious because we've released the task indicator last month. If you have been using them, you can let us know in the chat, or even when you're talking with our team from our support team or customer success manager, just let us know, like, if you're using it, what's most useful, less useful, if there's any additional tweak that would help you out, because that's one you should definitely use. So we want your feedback.
Exactly. Perfect. So if I continue on the improvement on the workspace, the other one is it's going to help a lot in terms of preserving data and making sure there's no change in your data, unintended change on your data. So the first thing is, for example, if you see here, the behavior of the plus sign has been changed. It's been like this for a little while. Before it was creating a subtask. Now it's creating a sibling task, meaning it won't change your dependency and it won't create any changes into the creating a parent task will cause problem with dependency. So that plus sign behavior create now a sibling task. And you can also notice that the start date and end date are being set as default of the parent task here on top. Meaning that, again, in the past, it would create, for example, at the start of the project or today, depending on the scenario, and it would screw up a little bit your alignment of your task. So now it's really taking the parent task start date and end date. Also, other improvements. So if you recall, we do have a lot of shortcut. You can pop up the shortcut legend just by doing right click in the table. And there's one, if you want to create by the keyboard shortcut, Shift Enter will create a sibling task. Control Enter would create a subtask. If you're using a Mac, it's going to be the common key that's going to create this. And if I just show you the same example, if I create a sibling, it's going to go and let me do this. And again, it's going to take the start and end date. If I try to create a child task, it's going to tell me that I'm about to break that linkage or my dependency between tasks if I want to continue or not. So again, we're trying to preserve the integrity of your data. So we've introduced those changes. It should help as well for people that are using the workspace a lot.
That's definitely one I would make internal communication really clear about that one for anyone in your organization creating projects and tasks, because they may be surprised at first time to do it.
Yes. And the other one, it's about scheduling. So scheduling in the past, you had to use, and still you have to use sometime the reschedule task button or action here on top. But we've introduced that when you change dates now in the workspace and the grid, those rescheduling are going to be done automatically. So let's say I'm changing here my transit time in that specific task to a few months in the future. If you look here on the right, they're all stacked, but when as soon as I'm going to change the date and apply the change, you can see that this has moved and then all the following task has moved as well, meaning you don't need to go press that scheduling button and there's no more discrepancy between what you're trying to do and the result on the right side. It was always working from here. This was always the intended behavior. So if you change the workspace duration of your task, it's going to auto schedule. But now the dates are going to also have that similar impact in terms of scheduling.
Okay.
Good. So in terms of the workspace improvement, I think we've covered all the different improvement on this specific release. Yeah. And if we want to go and move ahead on the My Timesheet, we're going to be able to see the other improvement we've done on term of My Timesheet. There's some now keyboard navigation available as well. This was a request from some of our customer. We also allow for auto submission of full week of time off. So it won't, I'm going to explain the scenario in a second. Plus we have an initial release for the missing timesheet to use Lightning email templates. So it's the first step for you guys to be able to update those templates, which is going to come in the next release. Okay, My Timesheet keyboard navigation. In the past, it was working half and half. I would say it was not properly handling all those keyboard navigation. If I open up My Timesheet, copy from my schedule, so I have already some lines. So now you're gonna really be able to do everything just with keyboard navigation. So I've clicked here, but I can just navigate with the tab button now. So it's really easy to navigate through my entire projects, and I can change things around. I'm gonna even be able to go to the add row and add row. As every other software, to move from tabs, it's the tab button, and to come back, it's the shift tab button to come back in the previous cell. And I can now easily just do, for example, 3, then open up with the enter button, my comments node, then tab out. So I don't have to leave my keyboard, and I can really fill up my timesheet very easily now just by keyboard navigation. So again, trying to make things simple, and we don't like to do timesheet. Eventually, we're gonna fill with our AI. We're gonna fill those timesheet automatically for you, but for the time being, that keyboard navigation shortcut should be helping you. So tab, shift tab, and the enter button are pretty much the main key to use for now. Good. So this is for the My Timesheet functionality. The other one is the auto submission of time off. So let me open up the time off.
And I know the auto submission of time off and holiday, that was ideas that came from customer. A couple of customers asked for this actually.
And I'm reading the question on the right side. Brian is asking if we should recommend switching to LDS2 team. So my color code and might be different than yours. So yes, we are using the newest interface of Salesforce, and yes, we recommend moving to it. It's prettier, it's a bit slicker, so absolutely we recommend changing that setting as well, that theme for your entire company. We use the default theme with the black background, and it makes everything prettier. Okay, time off. The use case is, let's say somebody is taking a full week of vacation, and you want the process is to be able to submit that time off, to get that approved, and then this is represented in your timesheet. In the past, you still need to go in the future date and submit your timesheet, so it's going to be picked up and approved by your the approval process or the people responsible to approve those time entry. Now it's going to be automatically submitted this way. You don't need to go and do that second step that some people, the employee, were forgetting. Then you had some timesheet in limbo that were not approved, and you could not do it by yourself. So this is solving that problem. So let me just create a quick time off so I can show you. So let's say I'm going to take some vacation. I'm just coming back from vacation, but I would like to take more. So let me select next week as my full week. And the rule here, it's really that the number of hours that's going to be automatically calculated needs to be equal to your work schedule hours. I'm going to auto approve it from the get-go. But by doing this, and my work week schedule is 40 hours, and now my submitted time off is for 40 hours. This means it entered that flow, and now my timesheet has been automatically submitted. It doesn't mean it got approved, but if I'm going to my timesheet approval page, and I'm searching for that specific range of dates, which is next week, I can see now that I have my timesheet for vacation that have been submitted. So the employee don't need to do anything else. Now it's just an approval process step. And usually this happens on the week of the vacation. So on the week of a vacation, I can confirm that, yes, that person went away. And then I can go ahead and just approve that time off. So everything is neat and tidy for the accounting people and the HR people.
Yay.
Just let me know if there's any questions.
And it's going to be more useful when you get to the missing timesheet. If you got that set up as well, you're not going to have weird notifications sent to people
Exactly.
as well.
Absolutely right. And the other one, I know our customer APR have been waiting for this to be able to configure all those email templates we're sending out. So the first step was to introduce email templates in the Lightning format. So Salesforce have changed the email templates a while back, but we were still operating on classic emails. Now we've introduced email templates. As you can see, there's 3 of them in regards of the missing timesheet. In that first iteration, we've improved the look and feel of that email template, and we're using that email, the new email templates from Salesforce, the Lightning one. This being said, it's still not editable. The addition of it will come in the next release or the one after, I'm not sure. But you're going to be able to edit those. But the first step was to move to those email template. And there is some upgrade consideration in that regard, and mainly in terms of sharing the folders. And I'm pretty sure pretty much all the user we have here on the webinar, they already have that Lightning email template enabled. So please look at the release note for those upgrade consideration. But this is the first step of doing it. The look and feel was a lot better already, but we're going to come with the fact that you're going to be able to change your logo and change the text if you wanted to as well. Cool. So we're pretty much done in terms of the timesheet information. So automation, missing timesheet, and keyboard navigation.
Yeah, and it's nice. I saw comments in the chat that from Josh that you're already having your users happy about the shortcuts in the timesheet. So that's good.
Yeah. As you can see in this release, we have pretty much all ideas. It's pretty much all ideas that have been asked by our customer and that fits our roadmap. So we're very happy that to provide those upgrades for you guys. This is the same for the surveys. So surveys, it's been asked that we support more type of surveys question. So we've enabled that emoji-based survey question. But also, as you will see in my demo, you are able to answer some of those questions directly in the email that you receive as a survey. So we've made those two being able as well that you can answer it directly in the email. So let me show you those upgrades.
Yeah, embedding in the email is definitely best practice if you want more response, right?
Yeah, because with a single click, you get the results. So absolutely. Okay, so let's go in the configure survey section. I've created one new survey, the training workshop feedback. Let me open it. And then you can see that I have two questions in it. One of those new questions are those emoji. So if I press add new question, you can now select an emoji question, and you have a few settings associated with it. So first the question, but then you can play around with the scale. So if you want a scale of 2, a scale of 4, or a scale of 5, you're going to be able to select this. And it's pretty simple, right? Pretty much every software now, when you're ending a Google Meet session, for example, you have those emoji, exact same emoji that are popping up. So a lot of software are using this. So now we have that functionality too. And on top, you can select which question do you want be able to being inserted in your email. In our case, it was that what was your preferred topic? It's the question that we had those radio button on. Sorry, I left my survey page. So now you can pick up those radio button question. You can select it as an email setup. And I've also closed my project. Yeah. So let me show it in action. So if I open up my that specific project and I want to send a survey, you should have that button on the project itself. You can put it pretty much everywhere. I'm going to select my template with the embedded question. I'm going to send it to myself, and I'm going to pick the survey that we just selected. I'm going to send it, quick preview, and then in a few seconds, I'm going to receive it in my inbox. Let me open it. So now I've received that email with that first question, the radio button. And as soon as I'm going to pick one answer, it's going to open up the full survey page. The selection I've picked is already picked. The record has already been created. So even if the customer don't submit the response, you still have that first answer. And then I can go ahead and select my second answer and submit the full survey. So that functionality is, we've improved a lot of survey recently in terms of keeping those value, answering that first question. And now you have that, you can do it with the checkboxes or the radio button, but also the emoji works very well to do the same thing. Cool. I saw a lot of arts coming up, so I'm guessing customer on this webinar are very happy about that functionality. Okay, next.
Resource planner.
Resource planner. So resource planner, there's a new functionality in terms of color mapping that we've introduced in the previous release. So now we've made some other adjustment and improvement on it. So if I open up my global resource planner, I'm now in my scheduled view. So those are the number of hours that I'm assigned across my different task and project, depending on what you're assigning your people on, with all the different functionality. But if you switch into the availability mode, now we also represent this with color, and there is now a color coding that is you're able to play around with. So for example, you can play with the color coding of that representation. So less than 0 will be green, 0 to, and this is the number of hours that are available for to be assigned. So the idea is to be close to 0. And if you have more than 50%, you're going to be in red, for example. We are thinking of introducing maybe, and again, you can chat me offline if you want, but we're thinking of introducing another selection here. So less than 0. Instead of just having in green when you're, this means I'm overbooked, right? Because I have minus 28 hours. So I don't think it should be green in that case. It should probably be in another shade of red. So most likely we're going to introduce a fourth selection here. So less than 0, and then you're going to be able to pick those value here. This being said, that color coding work. And you can see as well that, for example, if I don't like that green, it's a bit too dark for me. Some of our customers don't know yet, but you can play around with your colors and through the color mapping tab. So if I go color mapping, and if I scroll to my section about resource planner availability view, so this is the one, I can just go ahead and change the color coding and save it. And now if I'm coming back, I'm going to have a better green that fits better with my other section. So after this webinar, yeah, I think Rosalie, you're going to be sending out a recap, and we're going to introduce our color codes that we have across our demo environment and the default setup. So if you want to reproduce those colors, you just need to copy and paste it in the color mapping of client.
Yeah.
Good. So again, clarity, legibility, making surface information a lot faster and better. Next, financials. This one I'm gonna talk about it less than showing, but we've introduced in the latest webinar, if you recall, the prepayment. Prepayment could be created in that release at the press of a button. Now, let's say you close an opportunity and you want that information or that prepayment to be created automatically when you win that business. You're going to be able to call it via flow, a Salesforce flow, and create that automatically, so you don't need to press that button. So either on the proposal, the project, you're going to be able to create that prepayment with that new invocable action. So first thing. Then we also made that project forecast, and I think you do have a survey, Rosalie, about forecasting.
I do. Let me just launch it now. We're just curious because we don't talk about it that often. Yeah. Are you using client for forecasting? That's very simple.
Yeah, simple. And we have project forecast and we have a resource utilization forecast. So those are two things. In this case, it's that project forecast that now, again, it could be schedule and a batch job, but now you're going to be able to call it via an API. So if you want to build any kind of logic or any kind of button yourself, you're going to be able to do it. So this has been introduced as new ways of for you to automate some of your settings or some of your workflow. And I'll let you resume that survey. I'm kind of curious. I'm expecting that a lot of people will say yes, but
yeah, half people said no, they're not using it, and then some people said yes, and some people they just don't know. Which it's fair that not everyone in the organization is using the forecasting module.
And
but...
forecasting and the later part of the year, forecasting is going to be something we're going to be improving again a lot. And you should see some of that information or some of those new features coming your ways before the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the two other one, QuickBooks. Okay, this one is a bit more complex, not necessarily complex, but there's more information. So I have a few slides just to explain what it does. And then if you need to set it up in the release note, there's the entire procedure of how to set it up. For a long time, the only things you could do with the QuickBooks is that you could, from a client invoice, you could send that to a QuickBook invoice with all the different line items. So this was already in the package. And then you could have that payment of invoice in QuickBooks flowing back to client as a payment, so affecting the balance of your invoices. So those were existing features. And we've added in the last release some functionality, which I'm gonna explain in a second. But before, I just want to do a little definition of the object in QuickBooks. So in QuickBooks, you have a bill object, which is pretty much an invoice that you need to pay a vendor for. So this is called a bill in QuickBooks. And there's another object called purchase. Usually it's when you have, for example, if you have a credit card coming over, it would create a purchase a record in QuickBooks, meaning that this is something that you've already encountered, you've already paid. So those are the two main objects in QuickBooks that are capturing expenses. So our functionality in the last release, we've introduced the fact that the client expense can now create a QuickBooks bill. So you're going to be able to reimburse your resources and you don't need to recreate anything manually in QuickBooks, which you had to do in the past. So now it's creating that from an expense, it can create a QuickBooks bill. So that's been released in the latest one. And in this release, we've introduced the fact that a purchase, so let's say a credit card statement, and you want to affect that expense, you want to affect the margin of your project. So now that QuickBooks purchase can create a client expense, and then that expense can be linked to a project, so it's going to have an impact on costs. So again, those functionality have been added really to simplify your life and remove some duplication of data entry, and so you don't make any mistake, and you can enable both. This being said, there's an upgrade consideration, so please follow the release note if you want to set up those information, test it out, let us know if it's working well for you. There is subtlety and other details in terms of what's being said, sync that are indicated in the release note itself. QuickBooks bills to be sent to client expense. No, for now, it's really the purchase that are being sent from QuickBooks to client, and we send from client, we send the bill over. So, and then because there's two objects, we can discuss the specific. There might be some use case that can be solved, and maybe there is some other use case that we haven't developed yet. So please let us know what are those different use cases. It's a question I saw in the Q&A.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't have any representation or visual for this, but hopefully this test is gonna help. So this is it for the main demo. So we've introduced some new functionality again on the Workspace, on the planner, on timesheets and surveys. So a lot of our main interface have been upgraded. Hopefully you like those features.
Yeah, what we're showing on the screen is if you go back to the presentation, we'll send it afterwards, but you have the list of all the features we presented today, and then we have a slide for the less notable improvement, fixes, and tweaks. They're still very important, but there's just too many to cover all today. I've actually launched a quick poll. If you want to take a second, just to let us know which of the feature we presented today you're most excited about. We saw some thumbs up and heart during the webinar, but it's always good for us to share that with the product team afterwards. So they know, oh, everybody is really into this specific feature. And obviously any of these, if you're excited about them and you try them, always share feedback. Some people already did in the chat, but even just send us a quick email on support, just telling us how much you love or hate one of the new things you released. Perfect. So I'll just leave the poll on the side there. And we'll move on to our next section, which is product roadmap and ideas voting. All right, so this month, we didn't select any new ideas to develop. So usually we do that every month. We already have a backlog of new ideas that you voted that we're working on. But there is a couple new ones that we will be adding.
I'm sorry.
Before.
Should have clicked this.
Yeah. So there's 4 new ideas we'll be adding. So right now there's 27 ideas that we have. 4 of those are new. And just keep voting on the one that are at the top. We'll probably keep them for next month. So the 4 new ideas that we have after today's webinar, close the window, go to the community ideas section, and you can upvote any of the 4 that you really like. So the first one that we have would be, assign additional contact as billing recipient. So currently you can only have 1 billing contact that receive invoices when you configure it. So you would have to manually add a new recipient every time if it's different. So we're working on an easier way to have multiple contacts for that. We also have, oh, I think it's different. Yeah, call it something different, but yeah, workspace, predecessor, task column, view and edit. So it's kind of a shortcut for dependencies. Right now you can create dependencies from the timeline section in the workspace by dragging the lines there. So it would be like an alternative way to do that by having a specific column and being able to put some codes. Maybe the heart is coming from someone who requested that. I know it came from a customer. We also have global workspace toggle to hide templates. So global workspace where you see that full list of all your projects. So being able to just see actual projects in the templates should just make visibility easier. And then the last one is project status report, issue list improvements. So just the way we're presenting issues right now, we made some improvements. So again, we want you, I don't know if it's clear from all the previous webinar, but we want you to use project status report more. So that's where we keep making improvements to it. So these are the 4 ideas that are up for voting. So you can take a second after today's webinar and vote if those are interested. And I think on the next screen, we're showing the screen. Yeah. So as a reminder, you can just log into community, go to the ideas tab, and you can use the sorting on the right to sort by the most recent. So the 4 that we mentioned are going to be at the top. You can also sort by the most popular. I think right now the trending idea is the auto split timesheet across calendar months that has the most votes. We'll see if it gets picked up next month. And yeah, that's how you can do it. And of course, you can invite anyone in your organization to vote. The more vote, the more likely we're going to develop it.
Exactly.
And,
And
yeah.
we didn't select any, but there's already plenty that we've developed in this release and that we are developing now. So the plate was kind of full and it's summer, so it's the development is a little bit slower. So that's why we didn't pick any, but we're gonna resume the next webinar for sure. And there's a lot of votes on the top ideas, so most likely we're gonna take those next.
Yep. And then for the roadmap, yeah, that's what we're showing on the street right now. So the next version is going to be 50.6, should be available August 18th, so just in time for our next webinar. And then that version, if you look at the roadmap there, there are some ideas that will be released in August, some of them in September. The one with the medals mean that they got the most votes and we developed them. So you see there's already a couple there. I've highlighted a couple of the notable upcoming features and improvements. So if we have a look, you have the first one, the project status report configurability. That's a long word. We've been talking about it a couple of times, so it's coming on the next release. I think we also mentioned it in previous webinars, but we'll also be releasing the timesheet and Salesforce event integration. So that's next release as well. And then in subsequent release, there's 2 that are pretty cool I wanted to highlight. So the auto shifting task on project start date updates. So that was upvoted by customers. Should be really useful if you're creating projects before your deal closes and then you have changes as the deal progresses. So it would avoid you having to change dates a bunch of different places. So it should make your life simpler. And then the second one that is pretty cool, mass update fields in grid. So quite a simple one, but right now it's only possible to update project status in bulk. You can also bulk update the dates from the timeline, but that's pretty much it. So this should make it possible to do bulk updates kind of in any column. I think that's
assignee. There's a few priority assignee and statuses that we can agree now, and we want to make it on pretty much every field.
So that should be a time saver for sure. Yeah, that's where we're on. Okay, and then we're already, that's the first time we finished so early, I think. I don't know if
summer. Want to go out.
We're almost done here. In terms of next steps, we mentioned it a couple of times today, so we'll be sending you a follow-up email with a couple of key things.